Alright, so it's time for Oud. Winter is around the corner. We are in fall now, and fall is in the air, and I thought, you know what, it's the best time to put together a top 20 Oud fragrances video. So today, I've got my favorite Oud fragrances ranked for you. So if you're curious to learn about them, please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. We're going to do this really quickly. So I've got 20 Oud fragrances, my favorite Oud fragrances from the niche houses and also some luxury designer houses, and I'm ranking them. But before I get to the list, if this is your first time tuning into my channel and you still haven't subscribed, please click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So why don't we just jump right into it. First off, we're going to go to the House of Gucci. This is the Voice of the Snake. So Gucci's The Alchemist's Garden Collection fragrances. I have a ranking video. If you're curious to learn more about these fragrances, go check that video out. In fact, I also have a video where I ended up with a fake fragrance, so go check that video out as well. But this one is Oud, Patchouli, and Saffron. It's a very dark experience, hence the bottle. As you can see, it's a very dark bottle, black bottle. And in the end, it kind of reminds me of their Gucci Intense Oud and some of their other fragrances. Doesn't remind me of their Gucci Guilty Oud, which is more fruity. But this is a very dark take on Oud with Oud and Saffron and Patchouli, so it has leathery touches, but very dark woody Oud touches. I also get a very nutty experience with this one. It's almost like smelling like nuts, if you know what the nuts smell like. Anyway, interesting but great scent. I've ranked it low at number 20. I love it, but I love some of them a little more, as you'll find out in a bit. So that's Gucci's The Voice of the Snake. Next, going to the House of MANCERA, and this is Oud Exclusive. So this particular Oud Exclusive is a very, very spicy Oud. It's very spicy, and it has in the notes Oud, of course, and it calls it Oriental notes, so I'm assuming it's got like resins, sweet resins, vanilla, and things like that. So there's a sweet touch with this one. But of course, Oud is nicely paired with rose. Always a great you know, a partner or a match, because Oud and rose work wonderfully together, and here it does as well. There is that typical saffron that comes in, and labdanum and black pepper, cumin. Really, really great scent. Again, I really love this one. I don't have any other Manceras in this video. In fact, each brand is one brand, except for number one. I have it's a tie, and I'll let you know what those are. But Mancera's Oud Exclusive. If you haven't tried it, do try it. It's definitely a great Oriental style spicy Oud with rose. So that's Mancera Oud Exclusive. This next one is a fragrance from the house of TIZIANA TERENZI at number 18. It's called NERO Oud. NERO Oud is a great dark Oud, very, very woody, with loads of Oud, saffron, patchouli. There's some sweeter touches with vanilla. Orange blossom, you know, kind of brightens things up a little bit. There are, you know, floral touches like jasmine as well. But, you know, it has some citruses. Yeah, it does have that, but you know, it's a very safe Oud for me, and it smells like Oud that's woody and not necessarily animalic. So if you like the idea of Oud and woody Oud rather than like animalic Oud, this might be one for you to try. It smells great actually, and just for me, it's more about woods with Oud rather than Oud with Oud, if that makes sense. But everything around it is kind of brightening it up, so it is a very easy to wear woody Oud fragrance. So that's NERO Oud at number 18. So at number 17, going to the house of PENHALIGON'S, it's HALFETI. So HALFETI is a very popular PENHALIGON'S fragrance. In the end, it's another one of those combos with rose and Oud, but this one seems to be a little on the woodier side and lots of leather touches. Cedar comes in, Cypress comes in, and of course that trademark, what do you call it, saffron comes in here as well. Saffron adds a unique aromatic leather experience to fragrances, kind of hints at the Middle East a little bit, and when they add this, along with the Oud of course and the rose, it takes on a kind of a Middle Eastern vibe with Middle Eastern Oud fragrances, rose fragrances, saffron leather fragrances, and things like that. So I feel like this is a very, very popular fragrance for them, and they've accomplished something great. That's why they're making flankers of this one now, because they also have a leather and now they also have a cedar, so obviously for them it's been very successful and they're going to make flankers. That's what usually happens with fragrances when they have a success. They're going to try and figure out a way to milk it. But you know what? It's a great quality fragrance. If you like Oud with you know, rose and saffron and woody touches and leather, this is definitely one for you to try. So it's HALFETI from the house of PENHALIGON'S at number 17. Going to the house of Strangelove NYC, it's Dead of Night. So here we go with one of our more animalic fragrance options here today. And this is a very, very dark animalic oud fragrance, but things come in here to brighten up the animalic qualities. Of course, vanilla is in here, and then you've got to not forget rose, because rose is always nicely paired with oud. It's just such a great combo. This beautiful bright rose, jammy sometimes, or maybe dry, sometimes wet, with a very, very dark rose, in this case, I mean oud, in this case a dark animalic oud. So the combination works great. It's very, very luxury. It does have a very Middle Eastern appeal to it. And of course, it's animalic, so it's very, very sexy. So if you haven't tried this one, definitely try it, especially if you like fragrances like The Night from Frederic Malle and things like that. So that's number 16, Strangelove NYC, Dead of Night. This next one is from the house of ACQUA de Parma. This is Colonia Oud. A lot of people ask me what's the difference between Colonia Oud or Colonia Intensa Oud. At one time this used to be called Colonia Intensa Oud. They've changed it to Colonia Oud now. Now they're also not in brown bottles, they're in black bottles. They've redone the whole collection, which is kind of cool because I like the black bottles better. But this one for me is a great, great oud. It smells great, but you know, I've kind of lately fallen out of love with it a little bit, kind of gotten bored of it. And that's why it's kind of in the bottom of the list currently. But here we have leather, bergamot, amyris, oud, orange, coriander, some sandalwood, cedar, musk. For me, this one's a very leathery oud, and also it's a fresh oud. So it doesn't have a lot of warm touches. It has fresh touches because ACQUA de Parma is known for colognes, you know, eau de colognes, so they have a lot of fresh qualities to it. Not dark quality, I shouldn't say dark, not warm qualities. Like, it doesn't have a lot of vanilla, if at all. It doesn't have ambers and labdanum and things like that to take it to the warm direction. So in the end, it's a fresh take on oud. It doesn't mean that it's not intense, because it is intense, but the experience is a fresh take on that oud. So that's Colonia Oud from ACQUA de Parma. Definitely a great scent. And sorry if it offends you, it's at the bottom of the list today, but I'm a little bored of it, and I still like it. That's why it's in my top 20 still. At number 14, going to the house of PARLE de Parfum, this is Papyrus Oud right here. So a lot of people say this smells like Gucci Pour Homme 1, the first one, and I can see that. I've only sampled it once or twice as decants and samples that people had sent me, because I never got to sample it. But I can see the similarities, even though I've never really fully worn that fragrance. But here they've gone into a direction of papyrus with oud. So you've got papyrus, you've got incense, patchouli, oud, musk, chocolate, and ginger. So there's some dark chocolate qualities and nuances under there. It's not a lot. For me, it's darker, it's more resinous, it's more woody oud, it's more papyrus, it's a little smoky, and of course patchouli, earthy. It's a great scent. I feel like it's intense. It is actually very, very dark and just lightly brightened up with that chocolate note, and there's a little ginger, if I failed to mention that there's ginger in here as well. So if you're looking for an alternative of Gucci Pour Homme 2, you should check out PARLE de Parfum Papyrus Oud. That's at number 14. So at number 13, going to the house of Xerjoff, it's Alexandria 3. This one's slowly creeping up there. I've been enjoying wearing it, and I like the combination of the rose and oud. And this is Laotian oud, so comes from Laos. So I think Laotian oud is the animalic kind of oud, but for me, this doesn't smell so animalic. It smells more bright. I think the rose is pretty prominent here, and then the rosewood also is pretty prominent. But there's sandalwood here, there's some vanilla, there's some Thai oud, there's some lavender, cinnamon, so it has some spicy and aromatic herbal qualities to the fragrance, and I feel like it's toning down the oud. I don't get a lot of oud from it. There's hints of it because it comes off more woody to me than oud, but in the end it's a great scent. I really love it, and the combination of the rose with the ouds and the rosewood and the sandalwood, the spices and the aromatics work great. So that's Alexandria 3 from the house of Xerjoff. The next fragrance I'm going to talk to you about is from the house of Nasomato, and it's Pardon, this one right here. And I've featured this one in here because I'm starting to slowly come back to it and really enjoy it. This fragrance reminds me a little bit of Heritage from Guerlain, the men's fragrance, and I think it's the combination of patchouli-like qualities in here with sandalwood, and of course Heritage has patchouli and sandalwood. That's more of a fougere direction because it has the lavender in there. This one doesn't. But in the end, this is dark chocolate with oud, sandalwood, as I mentioned, tonka beans, cinnamon, magnolia flowers. Magnolia and additional like white flowers. So in the end, it's a very dark take on woods, dark take on oud. The dark chocolate adds a little bit of sweetness and brightening up, even though it's a dark note, but the magnolia and the flowers kind of brighten things up and not go in one direction dark. So it's a great scent. It's a great scent for winter, I feel like, and I like the whole combination of the dark chocolate with all the other notes, including the oud. So that's Nasomatto Pardon. If you're curious about that, and they have a new fragrance, I'm going to have a review up very soon, so stay tuned for my Fantomas review from the House of Nasomatto. So this list is a little all over the place because I went through all these fragrances and I smelled them to make sure that this is what I'm feeling. This would have been in a top 10 before, and including the Acqua de Parma, but now that I've got all these different fragrances, it's kind of slipped. This is Diptyque's Oud Palau, and for you guys like Dior's Oud Ispahan and you are looking for a darker, more resinous, less rosy take on Oud Ispahan, you should check out this. I do have a comparison video on the channel, but this Oud Palau, it has Laotian oud again, and here it does have animalic qualities. It does really do. Rose, tobacco, rum, labdanum, sandalwood, camphor, patchouli, and vanilla. It's really, really intense. It's an oud that's animalic. Not overly skanky, but it has lots of animalic qualities. It does smell a little bit skanky, but not overwhelming. But the brightened rose, again, the rose and oud combo is perfection. They work wonderfully together. And tobacco, some light booziness, and the camphor, patchouli, sweetness from vanilla. I feel like it's an excellent, 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 excellent oud fragrance, but it's slipped because I have some other favorites currently. So that's 11, Diptyque's Oud Palau. This next one has kind of replaced its place, and I'm digging this one now. This is Guerlain's Oud Essential. Here we have this particular collection. I think this collection is called Les Absolus d'Orient. I think that's the collection name. I'm drawing a blank. I should have looked up the name. But they have great fragrances. I'm in love with this collection. Started out with the Bois Mysterio release from about 2 years ago. This one is oud, leather, rose, saffron, olibanum, cedar. All the great notes that go into putting together this kind of a fragrance. You know, the oud is here, the leather is here, the rose is here, the saffron is here, olibanum is here. Of course, cedar is a great base note, but those notes that I read, the 5, are typically found in this kind of Oriental style of Middle Eastern style of oud and rose combo. Saffron is here. You can totally pick up the smell of the saffron. The leather is big here. It's a great scent. It does remind me a little bit of Bois Mysterio, but hey, this is the oud version of Bois Mysterio. So that's Oud Essential from the house of Guerlain. So this next fragrance, I still have to buy a backup bottle because I hear it's discontinued. It's Tom Ford's Tobacco Oud. Great, great scent. It was a toss-up between this one versus Oud Wood. Oud Wood is very, very popular. I decided to leave that one off. Tobacco Oud, on the other hand, is such a great scent. It's got oud, it's got tobacco, but it's got boozy whiskey. You can totally smell the booziness. There's loads of spices. There's sandalwood, patchouli, incense, benzoin, vanilla. There's a little bit of a cumin-y touch in here, but a fantastic fragrance. Great, great fragrance to wear in the cold days because it's intense, it's strong, it's a little bit dirty, it's a little bit animalic, musky, a fantastic scent. If you don't know it, check it out, especially if you like musky, skanky, lightly skanky fragrances with oud and, of course, tobacco. This is awesome. It's a great scent. Number 9, Tom Ford's Tobacco Oud. It's a great, great scent. You can't have a top 20 oud fragrances video without mentioning this fragrance. This is Black Oud from the house of Montal. Montal's Black Oud is a great, great scent. It's that oud and rose combination once again, but here they've also spiked it with patchouli, lots of patchouli, and those 3 work so well together. I mean, I've always said oud and rose work 100% great together. That's why you see so many fragrances with oud and rose kind of get tired of that combination, but here when they add the patchouli, it takes it to another level and makes it awesome, awesome. Add musk, labdanum, a mandarin orange to brighten things up a bit, and it's got a fantastic quality fragrance. Really, really intense, very, very long lasting. the trail you leave is awesome. And I was going to say, once you wash it off, you can still smell that fragrance, you know, like if you've touched your hands with it and you're washing it off, the remains of the smell it's just fantastic. It's a great, great scent. Probably one of the best from this house. My favorite from the house is Intense Cafe, but this is right behind it. This is awesome. So number 8, Montal's Black Oud. It's fantastic. So this next fragrance is from the house of L'Artisan Parfumeur. This is Aoud. One of the best fragrances ever made to me, and it's because of the combination of the oud with caraway and dates. So this is created by Bertrand Duchaffoul. It's oud, caraway, date, civet, leather, incense, dried fruits, saffron, myrrh, patchouli, pink pepper, rose. Man, the guy has thrown in so many different notes in this fragrance, and he's come up with a masterpiece, I think. It's a great, great scent. Not a lot of people like this fragrance, though, I think, because it does go animalic, it does go skanky, it kind of hints at a little bit of BO because of the caraway. To me, the caraway reminds me more of cumin than caraway, but the whole concoction, there's some rose in here, there's some patchouli. I mean, he's thrown in everything but the kitchen sink in here, and he's come up with a masterpiece. I love this fragrance. If I was to put together a top 20 Bertrand Duchaffoul fragrances video, this definitely would be a top 5. I absolutely love it. If you like it a little dirty, a little musky, a little skanky, you gotta try Aoud from the house of L'Artisan Parfumeur. It's a great, great scent. So this next fragrance is from the house of Raja Parfums. This is Amber Oud. Now Amber Oud is a little misnamed for me, and the amber for me comes from ambergris. In the end, what you're getting here is that typical combination of rose and oud. That's pretty much what you're getting, but they've thrown in a major dose of ambergris here, and the amber comes from ambergris. So it does have ambery qualities, but it's not like a syrup, a molasses, honeyed kind of amber note. It's more ambergris, so lightly oceanic, very lightly, because it hints at it a little bit in the background. But in addition to those, you have the saffron. The saffron is key with this kind of style of fragrance. It's that leathery kind of herb aromatic quality. Fig, birch, cinnamon, civet. Civet is the animalic note. Ylang ylang, orris, and musk. It's probably one of his best creations, and a great, great oud fragrance. Oud and rose fragrance. Wonderful and long, long lasting. If you like the idea, check out Amber Oud from the house of Raja Parfums. It's fantastic. I could have gone with many, many different fragrances from this house because he's got many different oud fragrances, but I decided to go with Oud Cashmere Mood from the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian. So here, this one is so buttery rich, but it's basically oud, labdanum, benzoin, and vanilla. So it's lots of dark oud, very, very dark oud, labdanum, benzoin, vanilla. I don't know if they have cashmere note in here because it's called Cashmere Mood. It doesn't say, but it acts very like cloth-like, material-like with oud. In the end, it's a fantastic smell. It's very, very dark. It's very, very smoky, but lots of oud with the, you know, kind of like ambery notes of labdanum, resinous notes of benzoin and vanilla. It's probably not his most popular oud, but you can go with many of his oud fragrances and it'd still be at number 5 because they're all really great. So this is Oud Cashmere Mood from the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian, a great scent. Number 4, it's Ombre Nomade from the house of Louis Vuitton. And this has become one of my favorite ouds. It's just a great solid release from this house. Ombre Nomade with oud, incense, raspberry, birchwood, then rose, benzoin, and saffron. So in the end, it's oud with lots of resins, light fruity touches. Birchwood, of course, adds a smoky layer. The rose comes in and brightens things up. Benzoin with its sweet kind of resinous touch, slightly vanillic, and then saffron for that leathery quality. Fantastic smell. If you don't know this one, please do check it out. Compared to the Gucci, you know, the Voice of the Snake, and this, it's a night and day difference. I much prefer this over the Voice of the Snake because there's a lot going on here, and the Voice of the Snake, to me, sometimes acts a little one-dimensional. Anyway, this is Ombre Nomade from the house of Louis Vuitton, but it wouldn't beat out this particular fragrance, another luxury designer house. This is Cartier's Oud Radeau, this one right here. Absolutely fantastic. Although it's called Oud Radeau, I get more ginger than oud, but in the end it's a combination of ginger, oud, and Sichuan pepper. Man, it's so good. It is very, very intoxicating and zingy. Sichuan pepper is a black, not a black pepper, it's a kind of a similar pepper to black and pink pepper with lemony nuances. So there's some lemony light touches in here, like lemon and pepper together. But in the end, it's a fantastic smell. If you don't know this one, do check it out. If you love ginger, you gotta check this one out. If you like zingy, you gotta check this one out. Zingy spicy. That's Cartier Oud Radeau. Fantastic smell. I know this is at number 2. It's gonna be a shocker. Can you guess what it is? Byredo's Accord Oud. Oh my god, this is so good. The more I smell this one, the more I love it. And I'm getting into Byredo more and more. And this has been in my collection for a while. The other bottle is almost finished, and I decided to show this one because this one I bought at Barney's before they closed out at their clearance because I love it so much. So this one has notes of blackberry, oud, leather, rum, saffron, clary sage, patchouli, and musk. For me, it reminds me of a lot of different fragrances from Byredo. It hints at a little bit of pulp for some reason, but in the end it's a great combination of blackberry, oud, and leather. It hints at a little bit of black saffron from the collection as well, from the brand. So in the end it's a great fragrance. It's not overly strong. It is strong, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't act deep and rich and heavy. It wears a little light and effervescent, like, you know, fizzy and bubbly. So, but it smells great. It's a great scent. It's more fall appropriate than the coldest days of winter, if that makes sense, because it is on the lighter side. As I said, it's not like a wimp or anything, but just a lighter take on a fizzy, fresh kind of a take on the oud fragrance that I really love. That's why it's at number 2. That's Accord Oud from Byredo. Let me know if you're a fan of that. And at number 1, as I said, I have a tie. The Moon from Frederic Malle and the Night from Frederic Malle. Yes, I have one brand with 2 fragrances. I couldn't think of where to fit these 2 fragrances. The Moon has become my favorite fragrance from Frederic Malle lately, and then the Night is just an amazing quality, authentic, real, 100% natural animalic oud. Let's go with this one first. This is an ultra fruity take on oud with lots of raspberry, lots of red berries, lots of lychee fruit. So it acts like a red berry fruity, oudy kind of saffrony, leathery fragrance. Really, really wears wonderfully. Can't get enough of the smell. It's fantastic, and it's a long, long-lasting fragrance. It's not as intense as this one. This one's really intense. A little bit of this goes a long way. This one, probably a few more sprays and you'll be maxed out. But it's fantastic. I love this one. Probably more of a warmer fall and winter days. And then if you wanted something more animalic, more daring, a little more risque take on oud, the real animalic bad boy here, the Night. For me, it's created by Dominique Ropion, and it's the oud take on Portrait of a Lady. If you're a fan of Portrait of a Lady and you want the animalic oud take on it, you can probably go with this one, because the rose in here reminds me of the rose in Portrait of a Lady. But this one's all oud, man. It is really, really daring oud. You gotta love this kind of oud, and this is pricey as heck as well. So I rank these 2 at number 1 because they're fantastic oud fragrances. Totally different, night and day different, guys. This is the real bad boy, animalic, daring, naughty kind of oud. This is the more playful take on the dark oud. Anyway, those are my favorite oud fragrances for October 2020. They're going to be perfect for fall and winter. Let me know if you're a fan of these fragrances. Let me know if you have any of them. Let me know if you wear them. And now that I've done this video, after watching this video, are you going to try and sample some of these fragrances that I've featured in this video? Put some comments down, let me find out. Also, put any questions down that you might have as well. Lastly, let me know what kind of top 20 lists you want to see. What am I missing that I have not done? And I'd like to kind of work my way towards it. I can't do them instantly, obviously, because I have to compile and buy fragrances and etc. But I love doing these top 20 lists, and I have more planned. But let me know what you'd like to see in the future. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. Hope everyone is well. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.